thorough pace, premium racing analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino. Hard to believe, but week 5. And it is another beautiful morning. A good breeze out there this morning. We are off the turf. There'll be no steeplechase. And I wasn't here for it, Seth, so it must have been about the 1960s. I think post time was 2 o'clock. Post time will be 1:46 today. 9-race card. Doesn't happen very often here. So,
throwback. It's a throwback.
We've had a couple of these where I think one year, we had steeplechases race 1. This is going back like 15 years ago. We had steeplechases race 1, 2. They were both kicked off.
Oh, I don't
Post time
remember.
was like 2 o'clock that day. But vicious rainstorm today. So obviously, and another example of why I love being a vertical player. How about that pick 5 sequence when they took the races off the turf, 1 minute to go? And I'd be very intrigued to see who got their money out of the pool. If you saw the pool moving up, it then went down. And I'd like to see a list of who got out of their tickets. But probably not the best customer service relationship.
Yeah,
and that doesn't really happen for me in my verticals. But if you're in the horizontals, Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, it generated some consternation, certainly.
Can't imagine why.
You would think they would, and either way, you would think there'd be protocols that in those situations where if this comes up, we'll do this. And if they don't have that, that's bad. And if that was the protocol, that's bad. But going forward, it might be a good idea to decide. You know, we play this game outdoors, and the weather plays a role in the situation, and so things like that are going to come up. That really, there's no great answer necessarily, but that one certainly, you know, as they're loading in, the turf race that kind of generated all of that was in the 4th. This was going into the 6th, so it seems like there could have been a little bit of an earlier announcement made or delay things.
There's an opinion that some people got the announcement earlier than other people.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, there wasn't much time, and some people, you know, the pool did go down, but yeah, it could have had a better solution, I think.
It's hard to imagine having a worse one.
Well,
I mean, that
could have been better.
it was. I was watching it. I was like, it was literally like 1 minute. You had to think, if you're in the room making the decision, you're like, you have to see the cliff coming. You're like, but apparently not. So there you have it. For yours truly, Seth, the 3rd time we have had over $100 worth of winners. And I said to my wife when Azora won the first, and I said on the air, I was 0 for 12 on Saturday. And this is why I fancied the money being next to it. When the first race took care of all of Saturday and his own race. And I got none of the breakage of my 12 to 1 shots. They both came back $26. But that's the 3rd time that, and I said, my wife, who's a money person, I said, just to put it in context, if you have a 12 race card and you have 12 $8 winners, you're not there yet. But, and Bright Work, I thought, was fantastic in the Adirondack. I was surprised she was a double-digit price. I was against a couple other horses. You know, I've said this before, like, I expect horses to take a regression in the second race. My horse was making the 3rd start. So I thought I had an edge on the field.
Right work also Bick's play of the day. So the play of the day bankroll is doing very
healthy.
Well.
So
very well.
We'll see. But can't keep me down. $26. Azora, $26. Right off the win. And then at Del Mar, Seth, I had a 13 to 1 shot who got almost all the breakage. He looked like a 1 to 5 shot. He just decimated the field. I was like, I had to look to make sure it's Mr. Disrespectful. And I'm like, even Trevor's like, he's gone, folks, at $13. So
those are the best guys.
We're almost I can play it very crazily at Del Mar. We're not out, but I think I need one Bob Baffert $2.60 horse to get me home. But Del Mar, Mr. Respectful, I was like, and if you watch, you notice the tracks now, because I think the average person doesn't get the chiclets because we read left to right, but the horse is usually on the right. So now tracks are starting to put, and Del Mar has put one of their gold diamonds up there to show you that's the leader when they come around. And he just like, I was watching this. I'm like, Denise, I think this is all us. And he was 13-1. So, and there I got all the breakage, 29.60. So I almost came back like a 14-1 shot. So
nice.
And that's why I love the game. And they don't pay off any even money. 0 for 12. I went 1 for 13. I was even. And then it just got better and better and better. I think
I was treading water all week, just all weekend long. I had enough. It's just oof. So I'm shooting for a better week this week.
We're ahead for this meet, and now it's 59. I mean, Sunday saved my bacon. The whole week, it's 59 weeks above water, and I gotta get probably 2 4-1 shots home at Del Mar the rest of the meet. So
that's doable.
Well, I have. I'm trying to do it all in one shot tomorrow. I have an 8-1 shot. I'm trying to. My goal is to be locked up before halftime of the meet. That's my goal. So we'll see. But I was like, $100. I was like, and Denise said, like, has anybody ever swept the card with 8-1 shots? I'm like, $8 horse. I go, I doubt anyone has ever swept the card. We talk about Russ Harris, right? He did it, and I think, I looked it up. Like 4 of them were $4.60. So that was it, though. So pick 5 players once again. That's, like I said, that's why I love trifectas, and I love horses at a price. But we'll see. We'll see if there's any changes. I don't know what they would think of as a change.
Well, like I said, I think it's just have something in place that
you wonder when the conversation started. Like, was there a clock when you started having these thoughts of?
I think the conversation started when the jockeys said they didn't want to ride on the turf course.
Yeah, but wouldn't that have been when they got off the race before?
I don't know.
You doubt it was while they were on the horse in front of the gate.
Absolutely.
You find that hard to believe. Like, oh, by the way, we don't want to ride on the turf anymore, but let's get in the gate. So, and by the way, my personal pick 3, the parlay came back 50% greater than the pick 3.
Oh,
ouch!
Wow. Yeah, really.
Yeah, pick 3 came back $1.53. The parlay was over 230.
Wow,
not good.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. They knew. The pick 3 players.
Well, I tried to figure out who it was that they knew, because even Ruda there was an even money favorite in that off the turf race, and Bright Work was like the 4th or 5th choice, and can't keep me down. But they whomever they were, they crushed it. The pick 3 was anemic compared to the parlay. So, but it's week 5. Can you believe it?
No. Well,
how about the fact it's only August 9th?
Yeah,
it's week 5.
Across the halfway point. And, you mentioned Mr. Baffert. Mr. Baffert in on a couple of big plays last night down the street. He was in on both the $4 million horse, which I think I read in the Saratoga special this morning, was the 4th highest, tied, I think, for the 3rd highest price ever. And then a $3 million horse at Baffert was in on both of those. I think if I read correctly, over the 2 nights, they had 10 7-figure horses. So it was a lot of fireworks. And we'll talk about that coming up a little bit later on. We'll have somebody from the Saratoga special. I'm not sure who's coming from the Saratoga special yet. I think it's either,
I think you masked that pretty well.
I think it's
somebody.
I think it's either Joe or Sean will come in. But, they've been running around, obviously, so they weren't sure who's gonna be up and running today, because they've had their straight week with the sales. So we'll talk a little sales with them and whatnot, but we'll certainly talk sales with Nicole Russo from the Daily Racing Form. That's kind of her beat, and she's been in town covering the sales. So we'll get a little recap on the sales from Nicole. We will also be joined by Jennifer Kelly, author. She wrote the Sir Barton book. She also wrote a book called The Foxes of Bel Air, covers Gallant Fox and Omaha. So we'll talk with Jennifer, and a little bit later on, we'll talk with Keith Augustine, and Kim Weir will come in with them because Keith owns the Lazy Dog Cookie Company. Keith was here earlier, kind of a phantom visit, a ghost visit one morning here on the Handicappers Report. We'll have him there officially. He does the dog treats, but a couple of years ago, last year, they started horse treats as well, which benefit the TRF. So if you have a horse, we'll give you a little insight on that as well, coming up a little bit later on. Don't forget also this week, Clubhouse Racebook. Today, there's a player's bankroll at the Racebook. Go down, put your name in the hat, see if you can get on the bankroll team during the afternoon when it'll elect for something. Tomorrow, it's the prize wheel at the Clubhouse Racebook. Friday, $100 trifecta challenge. The bounty bet on Friday as well. And Friday is also, as it has been, opening for the show pool contest. So keep that in mind. Saturday at the Racebook, $100 play the board. And Sunday, as always, during the Saratoga meet, double promo day at the Clubhouse Racebook. 7-Eleven, Central Avenue.
And out of this show pool, what was the
first leg? I can't get by the first leg. It's killing me. It's killing me.
Well, in some thoughts, better the first or the fifth.
Yeah, because then
it saves you 2 hours of agita.
Yeah, right.
So it's one thing about the horse sales that if I had a writing piece, I would do. First off, when I reported the prices, I would have it adjusted for inflation ones. Because it's the record is still 1984. When you adjust for inflation, they're never going to catch it. And $1 million isn't what it used to be, based on we have $150,000 allowance races. The other thing is, and I'm a big advocate of this, is they rarely to never report what they did. They're almost always stiffs.
Oh well, yeah.
They walk away from it. Like I think. Now, I'm not sure about this century, but Seth, I have a list at home of all the $1 million auction horses going back to 1984. I stopped, once Anthony was born, but I think AP Indy, who went for $2.9 million in 1990, was at that point the only one to earn his auction price. But if you've done some looking, they're almost all stiffs.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when they go for these mares in November for like $7-8 million, that never works out. I shouldn't say never. It works out about 1% of the time. You look what they pay and you're like, well, where's that horse ever come? But they never do the follow-up and it's easy in this day and age. But I always am like, yeah, $4 million. Well, not too good, And that's
the Green Monkey.
The Green Monkey.
$13 million.
And Coolmore never stud fee over. You got nothing. There's no way you make it back. But I've always said that's the interesting thing, the follow up, which is kind of what I do a lot with horse wins a stakes race. I follow them and see they take what I call the bagel. They never do it again. That was the high watermark. Or I did once. You remember when John Kimmel won like 7 races in a row a couple of years ago? Well, I followed all of them. Now, they didn't stay in John's barn, but combined, they were like 3 for 50 the rest of their life after winning 7 in a row. But I always think of the follow-up from following these horses. For whatever reason, it's not attractive. It's never done. They report the sales, and it's kind of like, what industry is it? Like maybe book publishing. You just throw it away. It's like, but I follow them. I'm like, and I'm telling you, folks, up to the last century, that was from 84. Remember when all the Northern Dancers started going for 7 figures? But I'll tell you, I'd love to see the accounting work on that because you figure they've got another 80,000 into it before they get them to the track if they're healthy. So we'll find out though. But now, did you go? You usually go. Did you go both nights?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Good crowd. Really good crowd on Monday night, and the weather held up. It was supposed to turn nasty Monday night. It spit a little bit, but it was nice and it was warm, and there was a big crowd. And last night there was a big crowd too. It wasn't quite as big as Monday night, but both
Is
nights.
Typically Monday night the bigger night?
Yeah, I think the first night of the sale, everybody kind of shows up.
Approximately what time did the $4 million horse come in the ring? Because I know they don't like them.
I got there after yesterday. I arrived later.
Another free dinner?
Oh, no, I just I stayed to the end both nights, and so I just.
What time does it start? 8?
Starts at 6:30.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, so right after the races. I think I've only been once since 1987.
Yeah, it's fun. If you've never been, the New York bred sales are coming up. Stop up. Over the last few years, they've got.
Don't they have like a party or something too, or somebody puts on a party? Didn't they used to do that?
I don't know.
Yeah. No, when I went, it was just 3 days for the whole year. I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays when I was a young man, and that was it.
Spike and Dival, you walked into
somebody's
living room and piano bar.
There you go. This is a pretty good bar, though.
Yeah. Well,
Denise asked to go, and I signed up for yes, and then she just blew me off.
Yeah.
But it is a fun night.
No, it's worth going.
It's probably
and if a meteor hit, the racing industry in America might be done. I was making notes of everybody I saw on Monday and Tuesday night. The prominent trainers and racing officials and racing media people, they were all in attendance.
You know what I think helped was when Keeneland dropped their July select yearling sales years ago. Now they have the Gigunda one coming up as soon as this meet ends. But remember, they used to have, that was where AP Indy was sold, and a lot of them were sold. Then they dropped it. They wanted the horses to age more, and that left Saratoga, I think, in good fiddle. And I should return to that. So that's it. So no steeplechase off the turf. Clearly, we're hoping to get them back on tomorrow. You know, I was suspicious of the turf when Caravel was out there just spinning her wheels and didn't look like it was going very well.
Yeah, she did not like the going.
And the going had that look with the clods and the darkness of it. So we'll see. Let's get back on the turf. But 1:46 post time. You know, we do the show well before scratches come out. We will figure it out. But mudding through it. So 4 weeks down, and it's only August 9th. Hard to imagine.
Halfway point.
Today, right? We'll put this one in the books.
Yeah,
right? That's
this is definitely the
20.
halfway point. But if you're counting by weeks, Sunday wrapped up the halfway. But
because you got that Labor Day thing sticking out there like a sore thumb. You ready?
I am.
So we save.
Well, let me turn my page.
We saved 90 seconds of my jump discussion. You ready?
Yeah. Second race at Saratoga this afternoon. We are looking. Being told. We got to fire up the DePaula play today.
Make it 2 in a row.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, get 000 savings on every new Chevy car, truck, and SUV.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey, everybody. Steve Bick back with you for the start of the second half of the Saratoga season. And the DePaula play of the day certainly finished with a nice flourish, hitting 3 of the last 4 suggested DePaula plays. And we're going to start things off in the 8th race Wednesday with the 4-horse Fancy Azteca. This 3-year-old filly was claimed for $40,000 off Linda Rice by Rick Dutrow and Sandy Goldfarb. And Dutrow's had plenty of time to evaluate this sharp Azteca filly. I don't think he'd bring her back in a spot like this if they didn't think she was worth keeping and, trying in allowance conditions. You're going to get 12-1. She's got the right style for the Wilson Chute course. And at that number, under these conditions, I think she's the DePaula play of the day. Let's get lucky to start the second half of the meet. Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
When you think trucks, think DePaula. Then come join the family for value. Just visit, call, or click.
This week, get 000 savings on every new Chevy car, truck, and SUV.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Welcome back. It is the Handicappers Report as we kick off week number 5, going over the halfway mark, and we will kick things off in race number 2 because steeplechase was canceled. Actually, was canceled on Monday. But the second race today, don't forget, that means post time today is 1:46. Race number 2, conditional claimers, non-winners 2 lifetime, 6.5 furlongs is the trip.
I guess the pick 5 people won't have to worry. They're all in the dirt. So there you go. I am 1A, 9, and 6 here, folks. And Carbon is my top pick. Tried the starter allowance races after, 5-6 tries. I think this is a very good spot to come back in. Now, we have multiple horses who, in theory, are coming back within 10 days, which years ago wouldn't have really mattered. But nowadays, coming back in 10 days is a thing. But I think this relief from starter allowance races down to 2L, where this horse had been competitive previously, is just the right tonic with Junior Alvarado aboard. 1A Carbon. For second, number 9 Pillbox, who's 6-5 on the board. The one dirt race was the career debut. Comes up from Gulfstream Park. Hasn't run since the first week of spring. Has a bullet workout. Is a short price. I'm just against. And for third, number 6 going out, Harlan's Bond for David Donk, who is, he's swimming uphill. Let's just say he's about 1 for 30-ish in that ballpark. So 1A, 9, and 6. Hey, the E. We got the E.
Bingo bango.
What did he say?
Dino said he made it just for us.
Thank you, Dino. It's for the it's the viewers, not for us. We know what 1E is, but that's great. Different font. Right?
I don't know. Is it? Nah, I don't think so.
Think so? All right.
I debated about pillbox. My first inclination was no mainly on the class drop and the layoff and the surface switch. You had all of
and
those.
The price.
And I thought,
but
then I looked and it's Ken Ramsey.
Okay.
And they claimed the horse for 40, so dropping to 25 isn't, crazy, but it's Ken Ramsey at Saratoga. I think shopping for a win after the race, the most recent race, they had a couple of bullets down at Gulfstream, then came up here and got a workout. I think there was enough there to kind of mitigate my concern. So I tilt there tepidly. Harlan's Bond in the second slot gets some class relief that I think will be beneficial. Same with, as you say, Carbon. And I thought Shigeko was also a little bit intriguing, moving up off a claim there. But probably, the preferred half of the entry for me is same, 1A, Carbon. Yeah. In the second, 9-6, the one entry in 2.
And I debated about it. And I would say, Seth, if I only wanted 1A because I had it as an on-top selection. I like your selection for third. I like the 1E taking both of them, but I just wanted Carbon on top, and that's differential. But Dino, I know we're kidding, but that's a good job to get the E up there for the folks, the good folks out there. On to the third now. We're off the turf, and a couple of things that I think will take place here. After 4 weeks of me not trusting the teletimer on the turf, I think the rails are going to come down on the inner this week. But they are scheduled to be at 27 feet on the melon for another week. We'll get to Travers week when I think they'll drop them. But I'm guessing the inner will have no rails finally after a month of racing. So state breds, 2-year-old fillies, maiden special weights. Typically, these are the races that hold together. You have 4 MTOs is on the main track, and I think we should we'll get a lot of newbie fans, which is fine. Field size is set really by the geometry of the track. So now they get a wider surface to run on. I'm wondering, can any of the MTOs enter regardless, needing no scratches?
I would think. Sure. Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
And I think that a couple will probably want to come in, but have at it, because
I'm first of all, let me say I didn't put it in my mix, and I may regret it because I think the horse is
don't even say it.
Playable in here. My Kind of Mischief.
I thought you were going to say Stormy Disco.
No, who goes out for Celtic Magic Thoroughbreds? My friend Dana and some other friends of mine are in it as well. So I was like,
what horse is it?
The 8. My Kind of Mischief.
My Kind of Mischief.
So some local connections there in the debut, and I'm pretty sure they were planning to stay in.
Oh,
so,
I would.
Yeah. So again, rooting there, but I went 9, 11, 3, and 12. I put Miss Dior Cherie on top for Christophe Clement by Bolt Dioro with some bullet works underneath. They get the surface they want. I'll go there. Second slot, I'll use another MTO. Rudy Rodriguez has a firster for Mike Rapoli by Practical Joke. I think that one has a little bit of breeding that's and they get the surface they want, and that all says go today. And then Tricky Temper paid just under $250,000 for this daughter of Into Mischief. Looking at the workouts, I would expect them to stay, and I would expect Tricky Temper to run well. Tricky Temper was my top pick on the turf, and so I may kick myself with the surface switch, but I thought a couple of the MTOs were maybe a little more intriguing. In the third for me, 9, 11, 3, and 12.
And I think you touched on the 2 MTOs, the 9 and 11. It did surprise me that the Practical Joke, I think a very reasonable price at $75,000. It does fit the old 3 times the stallion fee rule of thumb, so that's fine. But Tricky Temper, Mark Stanley, who's won the Jim Dandy up here years ago with Ecton Park. He has silks that, as a trip guy, I like to remember. And I was like, I highlighted. I was like, good to see him back here. I think they're staying in. Stormy Disco, who is Mike Deeney owned and trained. I'm hoping for a little moisture in the racetrack, and I'm hoping they stay in. I think I'm going to get a big price lost in here against the big guys.
I had Stormy Disco in the mix on the turf.
Okay.
And so another one that I really kicked myself.
Oh, that's where I thought you were going. I go, oh, he's going to steal my thunder and go right to Stormy Disco. But the 9 and 11 certainly seem to be dangerous in here. Now, here's the thing I said, though, Seth. I don't know if this is a rule. They are cross-entered tomorrow. Don't they usually scratch out?
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I don't know what the rules are there.
You
may be right there.
That they don't. And I apologize. I mean, I wish I had better connections to I could just call up the powers that be and say, is this a rule? But I'm wondering if the 9 and 11 scratch today, I'm definitely starting to think if you cross-enter, but we'll look into that. So the 9 and 11, who would be major players in this race, might not be playing.
All right. Dark Horse Play of the Day is race number 5 this afternoon. Again, Dark Horse Play of the Day brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile in downtown Saratoga. Their sister store, Impressions of Saratoga, right down the street. Both very much worth a visit. Dark Horse Play of the Day today. They don't have the R up there, but this is one of those restricted maiden special races in race 5. 6 furlongs the trip. I'm going to take a little pop. 12-1 Elusive Fashion goes out for Kerry Breon by Connect. Connect this year is not as potent as he was last year with firsters. This year, 24 first-time starters, a winner, a couple seconds, and a third. But last year, 64 first-time starters, 15 in the exacta, 9 winners, 6 seconds, and 8 thirds. So Connect, I think, is very good with first-time starters. The Dam has produced a sibling called Fashion Short that won its career debut. Another sibling called Rhea Dan, who won the first 2 starts of the career. And then another sibling called David's Tuition that won in the second start. So I thought there was win early, top and bottom. In a race where none of the others, Zadorsky has experience for the Catman, Wayne Catalano. Shimmering Allure, same, little experience for Ken McPeak. Chad Brown has a couple of firsters in here that might be interesting. Mike Maker's second-time starter. But again, at the price and with that win early breeding, and given the trainer, I think we will sneak away at that price. But with the win early breeding, Dark Horse Play of the Day today, race number 5, horse number 4, Elusive Fashion.
Carrying a little extra weight, which we'll get to later on.
Okay.
I think we agreed on the pronunciation of her last name, and you went backward.
No, because I've since heard it stated.
Brion?
Yeah, Brion.
Brion?
Yeah.
So it isn't Brian.
No.
All right, that's good. We had that on other people's. That's.
I'm trying to think who said it. Somebody who would know said it to me just a couple.
All right, that's good to know. Take a quick break on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, Scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this. Oh, man, they're heavy equipment coming through, over there. We are getting back into it here on this first day of week number 5, and we're jumping back in again off the turf. So we're kicking things off in this segment. Race number 4 was 1 3/8 miles on the turf. Goes to the main track now at 1 1/4 miles. 4th race, optional claimers, non-winners of 2 other than the condition.
8, 9, 10 are the MTOs, and I think it's fair to say they will dominate the wagering. Ouster is 7-5 on the board for Mark Hennig, who is having a terrific meet. We always wish her the best. Costa Terra is 3-1 for Linda Rice, who has just had a terrific, 6-8 month run at almost a consistent 20 to 25% win rate week by week by week. That's something that I've not come across. I mean, we've had 20% trainers the last 15, 20 years, but boy, her consistency level is amazing. And, I've gone through this before. If I'm guessing, I think the 2 is coming out. The 3, the 4 are staying. They look like they got a race that maybe they were hoping for. I think part of the entry, Tie to the Sea, would come out. The 7, I strongly feel would come out. But I think, so this is a case where Classic Catch for Todd Pletcher, I'm thinking they got the race they really, truly wanted.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, unless they were deciding after some negative stakes races, well, maybe we have a turf runner here. But I'm thinking maybe they got the race they wanted. So for me, it would be 4, 8, 9 in this, with the MTOs, particularly the 8 and 9, dominating the wagering. But I think Classic Catch, years ago we used to talk about it, Seth. They entered the main body because they didn't want to be stuck on the outside. And I think Classic Catch, and I'm just guessing, Todd didn't call me this morning.
I have
any morning.
I have an 8, 4, 10, and 9. I used Ouster on top.
10 too, huh?
Had Kip O'Neill from Windy Leaf Farm on the other day. They were pretty happy with the win earlier in the meet on the main track, and they get the main track today. So I think this horse is well spotted. I think on the numbers has the edge on Classic Catch, who, I mean, the whole career has been dirt so far, including some stakes races. So may class up very, very well with this bunch. And then Trident hit in the 3rd spot for Ron McCat, coming off a nice little win most recently down at Ellis. Comes up to Saratoga to try this company again. Gets the surface they want. 4th Saratoga today, 8, 4, 10, and 9.
And it will drive our friend and colleague, and rightfully so, bat crazy if in the PPs later they don't have the R for this race. And I think he's 100% right.
That they don't have the
that's sketchy.
They don't have the R in here, and which they've been putting in. I found that really strange. I drew my own R.
Let me see your artistic work. Right there. 2-year-old fillies, maiden special weight. Seth makes a great point. These are for those that have not sold or RNA for 50,000 or less in their most recent sale. This race started about 5-6 years ago.
Was it that long?
Well, COVID was 3 years ago. Wasn't it before COVID?
I don't know. I would have said 2 or 3, but you might be right. I'm bad at estimating that.
Okay, so and it's an extremely important designation.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great
particularly up
classification that they gave players. I mean, and if you're a casual fan, what it basically is saying, it excludes some of these very pricey yearlings or horses in training that might, if economic stands, might be killers. So you're racing against your own kind in a monetary way.
I have it.
I know you love it.
Yeah,
I like it too.
Again, I have the dark horse play today. 4, 3, 5, and 10. Talked about Elusive Fashion before. Has that win early breeding top and bottom, and I think may escape at a little bit of a price. So we'll put that one on top. Zadorsky for Wayne Catalano. The career debut was pretty good. The follow-up was okay. The number went backwards, though. But I think in the 3rd start, this one may get back to what we saw in that debut or closer to that. Shimmering Allure going out for Ken McPeak showed a nice little improvement start, 1 to start 2. Both of these are coming in from Ellis. And I've said it a couple of times already this summer. If you haven't
Good.
kind of been paying attention.
Good.
Yeah, the 2-year-olds at Ellis over the past few years have been salty. So I
Great
think,
work down the line.
yeah, I think those are. And then the 2 Chads were intriguing to me. Echo Lake, there was a sibling called Brown Panther that won its career debut, albeit in Puerto Rico. I went for number 10, Extra Dirty. There's a sibling called Heyu and Vano. I'm sure I butchered that, but 3rd in debut and won the 2nd start. So Golden Cents on top. I put the 10 down at the bottom. So for me in the 5th, 4, 3, 5, and 10.
You know, Steve put out the he always lists the weekend buyers, and I meant to. Bright Work. That's got to come back a good one. I'm gonna look it up at our next. If you take a chance here, I don't believe in these types of things in life at all. I'm not superstitious, but for elusive fashion, who I like, where I like horses at a price, a lot of guessing going on. I like to guess with 12 to 1 shots, especially when the leaf blower took the first half of the year off, but decided it's now time to get their game on. You remember the last race? If anybody is owed something at the track, Kerry Rione is way up on that list at a race that I thought should have been a takedown, and she should have been put up. So maybe she gets it today. I have Echo Lake underneath for Chad Brown. Flavian Pratt gets him out. And then Lady Prospect for Rudy, a run hoppy from the rail. I was taking a quick look at the 10. I think 7 of them are first-time starters. Now, I have first-time starters in my selections, but I'm giving up a lot in experience. And I do think that at the end, the way she ran, maybe Bright Works experience, she didn't need it. She was just that good. But having the 2 races, and I expected Becky's Joker to back up. I mean, I've said this many times before. First race, regression, 3rd race. What'd you get? Did you see it?
I didn't see it listed.
Right. His was a long list this week for stakes races. So I'll find it. But I'm thinking, like, if I had to guess, like, I'll take like an 86. Those to me are, I don't want 92s or 93s yet. A nice solid 86 from Bright Work the other day, winning the Adirondack. And
you saw he had a list on. I'm not seeing the list on it. But regardless, race number 6 this afternoon. Again, we have moved to the main track, 5.5 furlongs. These are maiden special 2-year-old fillies. And as I say, they're now on the main track.
Andy Sherling tweeted out 28 minutes ago, and we thank him that Talking Horses will be 12:05. Before they get started on the card, David O'Rourke will be joining him to discuss events. Can't get any better than that. So there you go. I am 158 here for me. I'll stay with them on the turf. There's plenty looking to get in here. I mean, did 16 enter? That's one thing. I think 16 entered, right? I love when 16 enters, Seth, because that means you have no idea how many really entered. They only published 16 because of the Santa Claus, but 48 horses might have tried to enter this race. The MTOs, the guy.
Oh, this leaf blower.
Well, we got 4 weeks. He gave us the first half off, but I'm 158 in here. This, to me, is not a case where I'm worried about the also eligibles, the MTL, even though David Aragona has made 16 solve the puzzle 2-1 on the morning line. And you know how much we respect his work. So I'm staying in the main body, 1, 5, and 8. A Twirling Candy from the rail for Mike Maker. Reagan's version for Cherie DeVoe is my second pick. And then an offspring of Churchill, Z-Train. I'd be intrigued if they stay in. I guess, you have a Churchill who is one of those many sons of Galileo. That's probably going to continue the line. But scratches will intrigue me. I mean, if the main body stays together, you got the AEs and the MTOs. Like, I don't know. maybe they'd let 12 run now that they're going to the main track, right? They always add on, right? Remember the old joke used to be at Keeneland when they had the poly track. They took races off the turf. The field size got bigger.
Yeah, more. I did pull the 16 in. I left the rest of my horses just the same. It's Chad and Klarovich with a Bolt Dioro runner. They're getting the surface they want. So I went there. Housefly, I thought could be a little bit intriguing in the debut. I've been working down at Turfway for Mike Maker. If that one stays in, could be a player. Mia Marcella, by Twirling Candy, paid $375,000 at Ocala in April. The Hillenbrats and Steve Asmussen. The siblings showed some early talent, though not necessarily win early, but they were in the mix early on. Lyrical Pardon by Justify, paid a lot of money for that horse, and I could see that one improving for the career debut where the horse had some trouble. So for me, 16, 9, 4, 3, and 5.
And the sales are a day late. Apparently there was one winner at $1.58 billion in the Mega Millions in Florida. They're a day late for the sale. They could have taken the whole lot. We'll take the whole lot for $700 million. We're gone. Take a quick break. Hopefully the leaf blower will wrap up his chores for the morning. We'll be right back.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Birdstone is an outside threat. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
But here comes High Chaparral. High Chaparral, the defending champ, to take it to Paul Brown. These two arch rivals head to head with Joe Hart bearing down on them. It's going to be a three-horse photo finish to the turn. Here's the wire. Photo finish.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully he's going to run out of gas soon, but maybe not. On to the 7th race, 6.5. Claimer is 25,000 2L.
4, 8, 7, and 2. I'm going to put asymmetric on top. It's Chad Brown. It's Klarovich. It's a horse that's shown some talent. Concerned about dropping in for a tag, certainly, but they have made this move successfully in the past at Saratoga. Just may not have lived up to their expectations, and so they'll take a win and maybe move on with the horse going to somebody else. So I'll land there. But there is that question mark. Morning Cup comes in with a bullet work since the last race. That was in Allowance Company. They claimed the horse 2 back for 30, now come back for 25. So again, I think with the bullet work and the move to probably the more proper level, Morning Cup is dangerous. And Hatch at 10-1, I think this horse is kind of a player. You look at the numbers this horse typically and pretty consistently throws. I think a pretty good matchup with this group. Class-wise, dropping out of state bred allowance into a claimer, Red DGP could be interesting, although I've said it a bunch of times. I like that class move quite a bit more when they have a string of those state bred allowance races. For me in the 7th, 4, 8, 7, and 2.
I'm 2, 8, 10 as I pick it up a notch. Red DGP for Jimmy Farrow gets my top pick. Exploded to win maiden claiming by better than 16. Tried tougher, now takes the 2L option with Javier Castellano aboard. I'll take number 2 on top. Morning Cup, as I can lower my voice, goes out for my second pick. This is a $30,000 claim. Tried starter allowance on the turf. Now gets back to the dirt, sprinting against much softer. And then Clubhouse running for a tag for the first time for Todd Fletcher on the outside, making the second start since the Gotham. 2, 8, 10 in the 7th.
Race number 8 this afternoon, optional claimer with a non-winners of one other than condition, the 1.5 turn mile.
I like that. So 6, 3, 8 as we try. Bill Murray sends out the 6 here, comes out of a 2-turn route at Indiana Down Victory. That was a 1X, is in for the tag here as it's already won the 1X condition for second. Raging Sea, Pipeline earlier. I mean, there's just horses that, for me sitting here, first start of the year, which doesn't matter to me anymore. This horse is going to run big. But my one thought is, I think it'd be fortuitous to get 8-5. Yeah. I mean, I'd almost be attracted at 8-5, but I'm forcing 4-5, and I'm not attracted to it. And then for third, number 8, Sweet Wilhelmina. I like these races to think out for the horizontals. I think they mostly say you got to take Raging Sea and move on. Okay, if you have to, I guess you have to. But I'm thinking, and this is where I think the central focus of where we differ. It's like at 8-5, I'm kind of interested. But I think they're going to be 4-5, and I'm not interested, which is why I put Raging Sea in second.
I have it 7, 3, 4, and 5. I put Copper Girl on top. It just looks like that last race might have been one of those light bulb moments for this horse. It took her 3 starts to kind of figure it out. Now, maybe she just benefited from the sloppy track. Maybe appreciates that kind of going. But I'm going to look at it as a progression where the horse kind of figured it out for Brad Cox. That was down at Ellis, comes up to Saratoga, and I think is going to be live in here. Raging Sea, obviously, there was some talent for this horse, third in the Alcibiades, third in last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. But got to scratch your head that the horse has been on the sidelines since. And on a best effort, I think Coppa Girl with the more recency maybe has the edge. These are the kind of Raging Sea that can come back improved, and she's dangerous if that's the case. And Fancy Aztec at 12-1. I thought was a player off the claim for Rick Dutrow. Nice little win down at Belmont early in July. I think if this horse runs back to that, much less moves forward just a few points, fits right in this mix. And the 8th at Saratoga, 7, 3, 4, and 5.
So apparently, Ways and Means, who was the incredible debut runner for Chad Brown, got a 90, and Bright Work got an 89 in her victory. And I said, an 86, something like that is. I'm solid with that. So a 90 debut for Ways and Means for Klarovich, Chad Brown, right? Offspring of Practical Joke. And then Bright Work gets an 89. Take our final break. When we come back, the late Daily Double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 101-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 101 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 9th race feature, the Bruce Johnstone Mile Handicap. Trainer, I saw for years in the form, and then taller gentleman. I saw him out on the racetrack. He got a job with the New York Racing Association for a couple of years. And today we honor him with a 1-mile dirt race handicap. You don't see very many of those anymore.
Handicap with a wicked 6-pound spread in here from 118
good
to
point. But
124.
what I like is, though, that 124 is here. It's not like 113 down to 107. It's big time weights. It's 118 to 124.
5, 2, 4, and 1 for me. I put Betsy Blue on top. Had a little bit of a layoff early this year, February to June. The comebacker, I thought, sets this horse up nicely for Linda Rice, so I'll tilt there. Sunset Louise comes in on quite a roll, having won the last 3 and won them pretty nicely and with numbers that match up with this bunch. So she is certainly a solid contender. And then Buston Bay, also a winner of 4 of the last 6, including the last 2, including one right up here for Linda Rice. So I think Buston Bay is also a player. It's a fun race, competitive race, 5, 2, 4, and 1.
I agree. I thought there was 4 main contenders, the 4 highweights, and you and I land on the same exact. I thought, I'm going to be intrigued to see. You don't have Venti Valentine on your top 3.
4th spot.
I have it in 3rd. I'm going to be intrigued to see where the people go if they have finally, I don't know. I'm going to be interested to see if they make her a bigger price. That Demoiselle and everything. I'm going to be intrigued by the wagering there because the 1, the 2, the 5, and the 6 are going to be, I think, relatively close. And I had Betsy Blue on top. I think set up for a very good effort here to move forward off of the first race since February. Then Sweet Louise at 122 in here. Take him as far as she could go. And then the 3 for 3rd. I think a very nice horse race and a very nice betting race also. Nice to have them together.
Though one of them just went by, and a few of them have gone by. They're a thing now, those motorized scooters. It's crazy. I'm not talking like a Vespa. I'm talking like a little kid scooter with a motor. And you don't see it. It's got to be a little small little motor because you don't really see the motor. But they clearly aren't pedaling, so there is a motor. But
are those the people that are standing basically very erect, very straight up?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they've become a thing. I've seen a number of them kind of whiz by this
10
season.
years ago or so, those were big at the British Open. Guys were riding them right up the fairway and everything going on. But they seem pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's a great way to get around, particularly if you're just like going over from the Harness track, you got to come over here for something. Yeah, absolutely. 10th and final today, scheduled to go off about 6:15. We are looking at state-bred maiden specials. Again, this is off the turf, but it was scheduled a mile on the turf. It stays a mile moving over to the main track. And another one where I have at the top of the page, competitive.
And I think I don't think the MTOs come in here like King Kong. And I don't know who's going to stay or go in a mile. Now, remember one thing about this mile shoot set. I got to say one thing. If the 12 stay in, it's going to be very interesting as they get to the apex of the turn because sometimes it looks like a 7-horse field gets dicey.
Yeah,
over there.
I think it's
it's
a 10 limit.
Yeah, well,
at a mile.
Somebody's going to get uninvited to the race then.
Yeah.
You cannot run. So intriguing there to see, but you're right. It would seem very claustrophobic to have.
Yeah, that's interesting. If it's a 10 limit, and you're entered. Yeah, that's now I have to double check that.
I do too because it'd be like, well, wait a second, we gave them LASIK. So
you're in, but actually you're not in.
Interesting, Chris. 14, 15, and 16 are the MTOs. Okay, I mean they. Who will stay in? Let's take a quick cursory look here in the main body. I think I'm staying in with more than a feeling in here. See if, I don't know, the 6, the 7, I don't know if they're staying in. The 8, I would probably stay in, but I don't know. I'm 1, 11, and 3 here, especially if Union Trail gets to stay in with the early speed here. Barkley Tax Runner, I think, becomes a major player, more than a feeling. Has hit the board at this distance, moisture in the racetrack. I'm thinking they're going to stay in. I like the inside post. And then Z Dancer, who I think on debut was a well-beaten second, but was second on debut. 1:11.3 for me. And I think there's no way that comes up with David O'Rourke on Talking Horses, but that's intriguing. I think that would be problematic having 12 going into that race.
Again, I think there is a limit. I went in the body of the field, stuck in the body of the field, then went out to the MTOs, 8, 15, 14, and 1. I thought Lieutenant Mitchell off the last race with some early speed may play to that speed today, and that may be potent in here. And then Squid Gamer for Charlie Baker, I thought was a player, as was Rafua, both coming in off the MTO list. So for me, in the 10th and final, 8, 15,
And
14, and 1.
Just so you know, I do know the pop culture reference for Lieutenant Mitchell. That one I do know.
I don't know that one. Lieutenant Mitchell. Is that a Forrest Gump?
No.
Lieutenant Mitchell. Okay,
Lieutenant Pete Mitchell, Top Gun.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that in years.
Well, they had the new one out too.
Oh well, I didn't see that one at all. So
it's pretty good for. It's not a disaster sequel. It's not. It's good. It's solid.
Oh, it was everybody gave it a big thumbs up.
It was well done.
But I didn't see that.
Now here's an interesting pop culture thing before we get Sean Clancy on at the top of the hour. I think still to this day, VHS largest selling movie ever.
Oh, really?
Top Gun. Now there's a caveat that people don't talk about. In those days, they were about $50. I think it was Diet Pepsi has a commercial at the beginning of it. They were basically $25 ones, and it was a popular movie. But movies buying on VHS were very expensive, and they were half the price. And I still think it's the leader. That's 1986. Now, obviously, that market died.
I will tell, and I think it was a series. They should have just made it a movie because I think I only watched the first episode. But if you remember, Pepsi used to get the Pepsi points, and you could get like a tote bag or something.
Well, yeah.
But the commercial, they said for whatever, like $1 million, you would get a jet, but you could buy the points. So some guy came up with the dough and bought the points and wanted the jet. Pepsi was like, "Oh, are we really getting?" He sued him. And,
No, and trust me, it would have been hard for anybody to outrun Pepsi points for me in my lifetime. My wife still thinks she's married to a teenager when she sees my soft drink collection. So who besides Sean, who is early on arrival?
It is Sean Clancy. He's in the house. He will join us at the top of the show.
He understands this type of stuff. To not make a producer worry about being
early. The folks who work on deadlines are the
how it is for other people.
But we'll also be joined a little bit later by Nicole Russo from the Daily Racing Forum. Talk a little bit sales with her. Jennifer Kelly, who's written the Sir Barton book, also the Foxes at Bel Air, which includes Gallon Fox.
Love the Bel Air soaps, by the way. They were the white with the red dots. Almost like Live Oak, but Live Oak has the black sleeves, but very similar.
And then Keith Augustine and Kim Weir will come in. Keith with the Lazy Dog Cookie Company does the treats for the dogs, but now he does treats for horses as well, and they benefit the TRF. So we'll talk a little bit about that. If you have a horse, you get to know a little bit about the product, and maybe you will give your horse some treats as well. That's all coming up shortly.
Now, I won't see Kim because she's on the backside, but please tell her that our family love the Swedish fish. It's my wife's Achilles heel. It's a beautiful Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. We're off the turf. The first post is 1:46 scheduled today. David O'Rourke will be on Talking Horses. Sean Clancy will be on Racing Across America. Have a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
You've been watching the Handicappers Report. The Handicappers Report has been brought to you by Thorough Pace, Premium Racing Analytics, allowing bettors to identify races with extreme pace scenarios in a matter of seconds. Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with Capital OTB's mobile wagering platform. And CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State.